I'm Frances Hayes, I'm the County Councillor for Staveley in Derbyshire, and today I'm going on a journey with a local hero of Arkwright, a small town just outside Staveley. Norma Dolby is a published author who went on to spend a lifetime in public service, all whilst raising a family. A stalwart of the Labour movement, Norma served the community as a local councillor and an activist. Norma found her voice during the 1984 miners' strike, and she wrote a critically acclaimed memoir about her time during the strike, and this is still available on Amazon. After all that, everyone in Arkwright knows her simply as Auntie Norma. Thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me today,
Oh, you're
Norma.
very welcome, you're very welcome.
Can we start today by you just telling me a little bit about your childhood? I do believe you weren't brought up or born in Arkwright.
No, I wasn't born in Arkwright. I lived in a little village called Hemel Hempstead, and that's just outside London.
Oh yeah.
I was born there on the 2nd of December in 1936.
Right.
And it was during the war, of course, and nearly always, every night, we could hear the air raid signals going off, and we used to have to go and hide.
Yeah.
And I remember one particular night, they went off and we hid in the pantry. And the bomb dropped not far from our house, and a cup fell off the pantry shelf, and because it landed on my finger, I was always in trouble. And made it a really big gash on it, and actually the mark's still there today. But carrying on, we had to leave our house because it wasn't fit to live in. And some cars arrived that night, and it was pouring with rain. And we were took to London. There was my mum, and there was 4 of us children. My brother was the eldest. He was about 8-year-old. I was 6.
No.
And then I had a 4-year-old and a baby that was. So anyway, we were taken to this children's home.
So you were the eldest girl?
I was the eldest girl. I was second, though, to my brother, who was the eldest. And we were taken to this home, but we had a little dog called Queenie. It was a little spaniel.
Oh.
And they wouldn't allow dogs in the home, so my mum had to find somewhere else to live. She couldn't go with us, although a lot of the children had the parents with them in the home. And she stopped a little old lady. And anyway, I remember even to this day how cold and frightened I were because we wet through because it was pouring rain. And we were absolutely terrified. And we were taken into the home, and there wasn't a good word or a cuddle or anything. And we were just shoved into this bathroom and scrubbed, and then put into a bed in a dormitory. And I know I cried myself to sleep that night. And the next morning, the baby, which was Veronica, no, sorry, it wasn't Veronica, it was Veronica. Sorry.
Okay.
You have to do that. Veronica, she'd wet the bed. And I can still remember now, my brother, Reginald, he was crying his eyes out because they put this sheet that she'd wet into the bath and made him wash it.
Oh. At 8 years old?
At 8 years old. Anyway, my mum decided that we'd had enough with all the bombs coming and everything. And so she took us to St Pancras station. And on the platform there was a troop of soldiers. And my mum went to get the tickets, and they said there's no more trains going out tonight because this troop of soldiers were going out, and that was the last train. So my mum saw an officer among them, and she went up and she begged for him to put us on the train. And he did. He put us in the last compartment on this train, and he put a notice on the door saying, "Do not disturb." Anyway, he kept coming back to us, and we'd just gone out to the station when there was this almighty bang, and we could see flames everywhere. And he came back and said, "The station's just gone up, it's been bombed." So that was a really lucky escape for us. Anyway, we travelled down to Brough, where my dad was stationed. And this officer, he knew the people there quite well, and he took us to this little cafe. And honestly, I can say I've never tasted mashed potatoes so nice in all my life. They were beautiful. Anyway, we were billeted out to different places around Brough. I don't know if you know where Brough is, Anne, but
I don't actually.
it's not far from Penrith.
Oh, right, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And anyway, my mum got to hear of a little cottage going up on the moors, on North Stainmoor, which is just above Brough. And she went up to see about it, and they said yes, we could have it. So we went up there, and it was called Ogle Head, the cottage.
Ogle Head.
Ogle Head, yes. And it was only a small one. It had the rafters in it and everything, you know. And of course, the old-fashioned fireplace with an oven each side of it. So
Very traditional.
Yes, very traditional. And anyway, I've never been so happy in all my life up there. Do you know, the rabbits come out in daytime, they're running about all that day.
Oh.
We had a spring coming down the hillside, and you only had to go behind a wall to see a hedgehog, you know.
Wow, wonderful.
And the cows were grazing in the field in front of the cottage. And one instance, my mum had put a best coat on the line, and a cow come and ate it. So
it's heaven for a little child.
yeah, oh, it was lovely there. But it had its downfalls, you know, because we used to have to go over 2 fields to get our milk.
Yeah.
And I've got a story about that as well. We weren't very good children.
No.
We used to have a drink of the milk and go to the stream and fill it up.
Make it.
Yeah, until my mum complained to the farmer, and he told us what we'd been doing. Anyway, and we used to have to go about a mile to where there used to be a bread van come every Saturday. And my mum always got this lovely big sponge cake, cream sponge cake. And of course, by the time we got home, our little fingers dipping in, you know. And of course, she complained again, and she got to know. But after all that, you know, it is a really lovely place on them moors. But we had to walk 4 miles to school every day, and 4 miles back, of course.
Built you up though, Norma.
Oh dear.
Pretty strong.
It was really bad, really, but I always remember when it was the time when they used to make the jam, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And a little old man used to come out of his cottage just as we were going to start home with a jam sandwich. It was rhubarb sandwich.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, and
I love rhubarb jam.
yeah, and it kept in my memory, that did, you
Yeah.
know, that's it, yeah.
So you had a bit of an idyllic time then, eventually there.
No, not really, no. And of course, we were there when the 1947 snowstorm came.
Right.
Yeah, and of course the snow was so high. We woke up one morning with the wind howling around the cottage, and the farmer that lived nearby, he was knocking on the window, and he says, "Did you know you snow's right up to here? You know, I've just come to tell you." And he had to tunnel us out. You know, he tunneled the snow to the door for us to get out, and the snow covered all the walls and everything.
Wow.
Well, I've gone a bit past my story here, so I'll just tell you a little bit. My dad had come back from the war while we were up there, and he worked at a quarry. Well, of course, he couldn't get to work that day because of the snow, so he worked for the council, and he built these big towers, I should say, with blocks of ice and snow, you know,
Oh, yeah.
so that we could get down to Brough, because Brough which was, I'm told, was 4 miles away.
Yes.
That's the only place we get food.
Wow. All about winning the snow.
Yeah. And one day my mum says, "Your dad and me and Reg, my brother, we're going down to Brough to get some food." And they were taking the sleigh with them. And she says, "I want you to stop here and look after the children. It won't be long, you know." So I thought, oh, that's all right, because remembering I was a very small baby
Yeah.
there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it got dark and they still hadn't come back. And they started off in the morning.
Oh, dear. That's...
So I was really worried, you know, we were cold, we were frightened.
Oh.
And anyway, we huddled together to get warm. And then later on, my mum shouted, we're back, and evidently they'd been lost in this field in the fog, and they couldn't get out.
Mm.
And they were shouting for help, and this farmer came with his tractor and with the lights on and found them, and he guided them back to the cottage. So, you know, it wasn't all good on the moors,
No.
but it's my favourite place and I still love it. Yes. Because,
So
you know,
how, it can't have been very long after that you did did move from there and come up north? Is that right?
we moved all over, to be honest, because my dad he just liked travelling, I suppose. He liked to go from house to house, you know. So we moved all over, and we landed up at Leyburn,
Okay.
yeah. And I left school there when I was, I think I was 15 then. I think it was about 15.
Yeah.
If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but
No,
I think
it
it
would
was.
have been 15.
Yeah, and my dad had got a job away at another house, and he was going to be a gardener there, but he couldn't take us all with him because the house wasn't big enough, evidently, and the lady that he was working for didn't want us all going. So my sister, who was 2 years younger than me, her name was Janet, we got a job at this boarding school at Newton Lee Willows.
Yes. Yeah.
And
So
that was
boys.
a boys' boarding school, yes. And that was near Leyburn, that is.
Yeah.
And I was dormitory maid there, and my sister, she worked in the kitchen. And it was a happy time there, and the boys there went to Eton afterwards. And that's when I met my first husband.
All right. Well, was he working there as well?
No, he worked on a farm.
Okay.
Anyway, he signed up to go in the Air Force, and he was travelling around a lot of different places. And anyway, we got married, and of course we went to different places. And then he had to go to Christmas Island, which is a lot in the news at the moment.
Mm. Yes.
And I actually, one of my children was born after he came back, and she's still suffering from the effects of the
Really?
radiation. Yes.
That's
Yeah.
extremely disturbing,
Yes.
isn't it?
Anyway, in the end, we went to Tuxford, near Chesterfield,
Yeah.
not far from Chesterfield. And my husband thought the grass was greener on the other side, of course, and he left me, and I had a breakdown. And I did spend time in a home because I just didn't want to live, to be honest with you. I thought I've had my life, a happy life, that was it. But anyway, my husband, he filed for a divorce in the end, and I give him it. I was happy to give him it. My sister looked after me when I came out of the home, and
How long were you in the home?
just for a fortnight.
Fortnight.
It was just for a rest,
Just
because
enough.
because I threatened to do something silly, of course, and that's why they sent me there. But anyway, my sister took charge of me, and we got a caravan at Arkwright here.
So that's when you came to Arkwright?
Yes, that's when I came to Arkwright.
Okay.
And I've had my 3 children with me.
How old would your children have been at that stage?
My eldest one's a girl, Suzanne, and she was about 13, I believe.
Okay.
And Karen, she was, that's the one that's got the effects from the Christmas Island.
Okay.
She'd be 11. And then I've got a son, Andrew, and he was, I had him a bit later in life, actually. He'd only be about 2 when we went there.
Okay.
And I've had a child since, my second husband.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I met him in Arkwright and got married. He was a minor.
Yeah. What was his name?
Terence Dolby.
Terence. Yeah. Did you call him Terry?
Yes, we did. Yes. Yeah.
So a lot of people would know him by then.
Yes, of course they did, yes. Although a lot of people called him Dobber. You
Dolby?
know, Dolby, because of Dolby, you know, Dolby.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And anyway, I settled down nicely. I was told that the people in Arkwright, they couldn't stand people that was on the caravan site.
Really?
Yeah.
So did you live in the caravan site when
Yes.
you first in your second marriage with Terry?
No, that's when I came to Arkwright.
Okay, yeah.
I lived in this caravan on the caravan site.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
And I got friendly with a lady on there, and she said, come on, we'll go up to the miners' welfare one night, you know, and have a drink. I said, all right then, come on, we'll go up there. And that's when I met Terry, of course.
Right, okay.
He was a good dancer. Everybody knew him in the district as a good dancer. I couldn't dance a step, me. Anyway, he said, we're having a dance tomorrow night. He said, will you come? And I said, all right, but I said, I'll be standing on your toes. He said,
Yeah.
I'll learn you. And he did, and we were really good together. And we actually, about a year later after that, we actually had a class to learn children to dance from the school.
Oh, did you?
Mm.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes, so that was lovely as well, you know. And I think a lot of the children still remember that actually, because it was a really good night, you know.
Excellent. So you settled down in Arkwright with 3 children, or?
Yes, and then we had a child ourselves, and that's Jonathan. And yes, and Terry had 2 stepchildren. I mean, my stepchildren.
Yeah.
Yeah, Valerie and Sean. And Sean's still around with us today, kind of thing. You know, he doesn't live with us, but he lives at Kayla.
He's still in,
So,
he's still
yeah.
in touch.
Yeah, he's still in touch. So, yeah, so we were a nice little family, quite a big family then, you see.
And Terry still worked at the pit?
Yes, he did, until he was made redundant. And then, of course, the strike came, and we thought it was only going to last, maybe a week or so, you know. In fact, I went down to my friends and we said, we'll get some more eggs in, a bag of taters, you know, and we'll be all right. And the thing was, they had a vote for the strike, and they voted not to strike.
Yes.
Because the pit only had a little time to go, because it had only been given 50 years to start with, and that 50 years was nearly up.
Yes.
We had about a year to go.
Yeah.
So we thought we were safe, and then of course, the locust cyst came down and took us out, and I'm on about the Yorkshire pickets here.
So the Yorkshire pickets came to Arkwright?
Yeah, and brought us out.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
How did they do that then? Did they,
They
persuade the men?
Yeah, they got with the union, and the union decided, it was the right thing to do, which looking back, it was, you know.
So you'd have been NUM, wouldn't you?
Yes,
Or
we
Terry
were.
would have been.
Yeah, Anyway, so the next thing, I used to work at the miners' welfare as a cleaner, and one day, one of the union men and a lady from the women's group down Chesterfield came in, and they brought some potatoes and some more things, and said, we're going to do food parcels.
For the miners?
For the miners. So, do you want to help? So I said, well, I'm in, you know, I'll help.
So would this have been quite far into the strike that this happened?
No, just within months, I should say,
months?
Anne. Yes, within months, yes. So, and there wasn't a lot in the parcels. In fact, maybe a day it was gone, you know, but it's all we could get. So, I was talking to a few of the girls there, and we said, we'll have to do better than this, you know, we'll have to get some money from somewhere. So, anyway, I had a phone call, and they said, we're from London, and it was the Fabian Association.
Fabian,
Yes. And they said, we're wanting to help, you know, during the strike, and we want to pick a pit to support. And they said, we've looked on the register, and we picked the first one on the list, which is Arkwright. So
alphabetical list.
Yeah, it was. So that was that. So that was the start of it. And then one or two of the lads, they came and said, we'll fundraise for you. you know.
Excellent.
Yeah.
The lads from the other miners from Arkwright.
Yes, they were, yes, and of course they were already fundraising, they were already going
Yeah.
out, you know, for the union and everything, you know. So anyway, because I mean, when you think about it, the cars are going everywhere and they wanted new tyres and everything, you know.
Yeah.
So they had to have money as well. Anyway, one day I had a phone call and it was from Betty Heathfield.
Betty Heathfield.
Yes. And she says, Norma, I've heard you're doing a lot where you are and that. How would you like to go and fundraise?
Can I just ask, where was Betty Heathfield from? Just for people that might not know her, was she?
She was local, wasn't she?
Was she a miner's wife, or was she part of a group? Was she?
Her husband was helping Arthur Scargill during the strike.
Okay, all right. So she's part of the NUM.
She was, yes, she was,
Got it.
yes.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes, and I believe they came from Chesterfield.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, she phoned up and she says about the fundraising. I said, well, I'll give it a try. You know, she says, well, you can take somebody with you. And she says, we've got 2 lads going. She said, this afternoon. So she says, you know, can they pick you up? And there's also 2 ladies from Duckmanton going as well.
Okay. Do you remember their names?
I don't, no.
Right, okay.
But all I remember about it was that they were very shy and they didn't want to do anything. They, you know, like speeches and that, you know.
But a lot of women that were brought into the strike were just ordinary.
Yes.
Ordinary sort of.
That's right.
People,
Yes.
weren't they?
Yeah. Well, I
Not
was a greenhorn, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I went down home and I said to Terry, my husband, I says, hey, I've been asked if I'll go fundraising. He says, go on then, get off then. So I wasn't bothered about going because I knew how good he was in the house and everything, you know.
Oh, good, good.
Yeah. And I'd already had a stint on the picket lines and everything, you know. So
Yes.
I knew everything would be all right. And so off we went, and I got a friend to go with me. And the people that put us up were, of course, Labour people, and we really, really looked after. We went to Great Yarmouth, and
So you went to Great Yarmouth to fundraise?
yes, to fundraise, yes. And the trouble was, we had to go in this rickety old van with these lads, and they said, oh, sit in the back, you'll be better in the back. And it was just 2 planks on some,
So you're a little
on
bit
some
bruised
boxes.
by the time you got there.
Oh, it was terrible, you know. Actually, I do say about it in my book, so if anybody reads my book, they'll read about it. Anyway, and then I was nominated to do all the speeches there, you know.
Oh, right. And
So-
had you spoken before?
No, never,
Wow.
never.
So that must have been really
But-
daunting.
The lady I went with, we had a bed together, you know, we had to sleep together. And she must have got fed up with me because I kept going over and over what I was going to say, you know, and practicing.
Did you write it all down?
No, I just
No,
practiced
just-
with it, yeah.
wow.
And anyway, yes, I was very nervous when I was doing it, but I knew I was doing it, you know, for our village.
And for the right reason.
Yes.
So you were passionate about what
Oh,
you were doing.
I was, yes. And I was so surprised that even people that were on the dole were giving money. You know, I did have one bad experience in Great Yarmouth when some ladies near enough attacked us on the street
Really?
and said, your husband's putting on a wall and shooting. So that was a very bad experience, you know.
That's the thing with the strike, isn't it? It polarised
Yeah,
communities.
yeah.
Like nothing since. Really.
Yeah. You see, what they didn't understand is they thought we were wanting money, but we didn't. We were safeguarding jobs,
Yes.
and that was the thing. The
Yeah.
jobs were the thing we were safeguarding.
So the strike was about saving jobs,
Yes.
not about more money.
Yeah, that's right.
And Scargill had warned, hadn't he,
He had.
throughout the strike that the
Yes.
intention of the government was to close the
Yes, that's right. it was our misfortune, of course, that it was the hottest summer on record.
Yeah.
People didn't want the cold. But anyway,
And also that Thatcher had built up reserves,
yes,
hadn't she?
yes,
In expectation
that's
of a
right.
strike.
yes. And of course, when the strike was over, this silly lady wasn't content to stop at home, was she?
No, you'd found your voice.
Yes, I had, yes. I wasn't content to stop at home then.
So
I
do you-
wanted to do more.
Yeah, so throughout the miners' strike then you continued to be active and
Yes.
fundraising.
Yes. I had a lot to do with the school as well, and I actually got chair of the governors in the end there.
Fantastic.
So,
And how was Terry about you doing all your fundraising
oh,
during the strike?
he didn't
It
mind.
was good.
No, he was all right, you know.
How did he cope with the strike? Did he?
Yes, he was a quiet person, you know. And he thought if I were all right, he was all right, you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, he did stop out till the end, but there was only 4 of us in the village that did. But of course, our pit was made up of lots of surrounding villages with the miners.
Yeah.
So there was 97 in the end that stopped out.
That stayed out the whole time.
Yes, the whole time, yes. But
Do you remember the day they went back?
oh, I do, yes. He wasn't looking forward to it at all. And when he came back home, he said to me, do you know, you'd think we were the ones who were in the wrong. He says, I've had a terrible time at home. He says, we're like the black sheep, he says.
Hmm.
And I says, oh, well, they'll soon come round, you'll soon be all right, you know. So, but then he was made, we went back, was it in the March? Did we go back? I can't remember now.
Did they march back with the banners like a lot of
Yes,
other
yes, they
villages?
did, yes. And you were made redundant in the summer of that year.
So within a matter of months.
Yeah, months he was made redundant. So, but yes, he didn't mind stopping at home. In fact, I think he enjoyed it. And he used to tell everybody he used to be a cook in the army.
Were you upset about him going back? How did it affect you? The end of the strike.
No, I was ready. To
Was
be
you?
honest, yeah. We'd done really. I mean, funding was drying up, to be honest. And
How long had you been out then?
a year,
Yeah.
a full year. Yeah, and it wasn't very nice. I mean, the coal board had bribed people to go back to work, and they were getting a load of coal where we had nothing, you know.
Yeah.
And they gave him money as well.
Yeah.
And so we were struggling. Although I must say we had a marvellous milkman, I must mention him because he was marvellous. And he never once came knocked on your door and asked for the money. Not once.
That you owed him for.
Yes. But we used to give him little bits here and there,
Yeah.
you know, when we could, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you got £3 if you went on the picket line, the miners did, you know.
Did they?
Yeah, £3. Lot of money.
From the union.
Yeah, yes, from the union, yes. So,
Did you see much violence on the picket line?
oh, a lot of violence, yes, we did. I remember the police used to single out people that knew,
Yeah.
from our women's group, actually.
Really?
Yes.
So even the women.
Yeah, used to single them out and arrest them, you know, and we were told one day that that we weren't allowed to sing, because we used to sing our songs, of course, especially
Of course.
Thatcher out, 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 you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And anyway, they were warned about it, and they singled this lady out from, she came,
Was she from Brimington?
no, she was from Duckmanton.
Duckmington, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember her name?
I can't, to be honest with you, although she's very well known, you know, lovely lady. And they took her in the police car, you know.
Arrested her?
Yeah,
For singing?
yeah, for singing. And we all run across the field out of the way, you know.
Yeah.
And it was, that day was a very bad day because when the bus came with all the, you know, the men that were going back to work on it, and of course the pickets surged forward, and kind of the police that were in front of them kind of knocked into the bus. And I thought, oh my gosh, somebody's going to get hurt, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really bad.
So they used to send a bus to escort the men that wanted to go back to work to the pit.
Yes, that was the reason we went to the picket line.
Yes, yes.
To try and persuade them not to go.
Yeah.
But, well, you can't speak for the people of why they went back, can you? You know, I mean, there was some terrible, things happened, but I'm pleased really that we managed to stop out, you know. But I think it was really because we were determined to do something.
Yeah, you kept busy.
Yeah,
and active.
Active, that's right. And I love my village of Arkwright. I really loved it. Yeah. And I still do. I miss it so much. And I wanted to do more for it, and that's why after the strike I joined the Labour Party.
Did you? Right, okay.
And then I went on to I heard that they wanted some places on the parish council. So
which parish council?
This is Sutton Cumberland Parish Council.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And so people at the Labour Party said, do you want to put in for it? I said, oh yes please. So anyway, I got voted on, and I'm gonna show off a bit here because I got the most votes.
Did you? Excellent. Do you know how many?
I don't know how many, but I know why, because a lot of the young lads in the village wanted a football pitch on the where it was the park, on the park, Children's Park. And I said, I'll try and get you one, and they were all voting for me.
Oh, it's football. Yeah, no, it's football.
Anyway, I'm pleased to say that within a couple of weeks, we had the lorries coming around cleaning all the grates out on the roads.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was lovely.
So you saw that you were able to do some good immediately.
Yes, that's
for the
right.
community.
Then, of course, the elections came up for North East Derbyshire District Council, and I was voted by the Labour Party to put in for that.
Okay.
And yes, and we got in another man from Kayla. We got on, and I was a bit worried when I first went there because I didn't know what to expect. You know, you don't, do you? And welcomed on and everything, and I got well established there, you know.
Yeah.
And I never used to say much though, because I did a lot of listening.
Yeah.
But I weren't the kind of person who would keep putting my hand up and saying something, you know.
No, and I think sometimes in a council you feel like you should because everybody's got the two pennies to put in. But actually you learn a lot by sitting and listening, don't you?
You do, yes. So I went on to planning. I was vice chair on planning in the end, and that was lovely because we went out looking at properties and land and everything.
Yeah,
and
so you got out.
You got out. It was lovely. That was, yes. And then I was asked if I'd like to be vice chair. So I said, oh yes, please. So you do that for a year, and then you automatically get chair. So, but in that time as vice chair, you have to kind of help the chair, and if he wasn't there, you'd take the meeting, you know, or if there was a meeting or a do that you had to go to, and couldn't go, you would take his place, you know.
Yes, yeah.
So I was kind of a bit ready for it when I was chair because I'd done it, you know, in the meantime.
Yeah.
And I loved it as chair. It was really lovely.
So you became chair after a year or so? Or?
Yeah, in 2008.
Okay. That's a lot of responsibility, isn't it, being chair?
Yeah, you just do a year, Anne.
Oh, do you? I didn't know that.
And then the next vice chair, that was vice chair to you, took over.
Gets the chair.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
interesting. And
did you enjoy it?
Oh, it was lovely, yeah.
What did you enjoy most about that then?
I think it was mostly being able to help people, you know. And of course we did fundraising.
Yes.
And I did it for leukemia. And you got out and about with your little buckets and that, trying to fundraise for it and everything, you know. So anyway, I managed to, with the help of everybody, of course, raise over £5,000 for
I
them.
know this. That's
Yeah.
absolutely incredible. Well
Yeah.
done.
So
And that
good.
you had a sister with leukemia, didn't you?
Yes, my sister Veronica. Yes, she was the one that wet the bed in the children's home, you know.
When she was a baby.
When she was a baby, yes, when she was a baby. And yes, and she was a big influence in my life, my sister. She was the one when I was at my lowest ebb, she looked after me.
Yeah.
And she was my escort when I was at her chair, of course.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I showed you a picture, didn't I?
Yes, you did, and we'll try and get that.
Yeah, well, she's on the picture, yes. Yes, unfortunately, she died.
Oh, when did she die?
Oh, it's a few years, around about 6 or 7 years ago now.
Okay, so you still miss her.
Yes,
I should imagine.
it was very tragic when she died. She was going to the hospital for tests and everything. And this particular time she went, and she went with her boyfriend, and her husband, my sister's husband was a miner as well, of course.
Yes.
But he didn't work at Arkwright, he worked at Markham.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's on my patch.
Yes,
Okay.
he did, yes, at Markham. That's where we used to go a lot, picketing as well, of course.
Oh,
at
was it?
Markham, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. But anyway, she went to see this doctor, her boyfriend, and he didn't look at my sister at all, this doctor, and he says to her boyfriend, she's got a week to live.
No, that's awful.
Yes, and she did just last just over a week. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible.
And I just couldn't get over that because it was so bad, you know.
Yeah. What an awful way to find out.
Yes,
as well.
yes, it was. But yes, of course she was a true labourer.
Was she?
You know, yeah, she was lovely.
Was Terry very political? In a partisan way?
He was when he met me. He was.
Yeah, you made him.
I don't think he was really into politics at all. No, but I mean when I joined the Labour Party, he joined as well. You see.
Good.
Yeah, and when I went as a parish councillor, he did.
There you go.
So
You led the way.
yeah, I led the way. Yes, yes.
When did Terry pass away?
Oh, a good 10 years ago now, and they said it was pneumonia, but you know, I saw X-rays of his chest and everything in the hospital, and it was black. And he used to come home.
From
you
working
know.
in the pit.
Yes, he used to come home, and you know, his nose and everything was clogged up with and everything, you know. And they were bringing it up for days on end.
What job did he do in the pit?
He was a fitter.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it obviously had an effect on his.
Yes,
health.
of itself, it did a big effect on his health. But he never complained, as I said, he was a quiet person, he never complained, you know,
Yeah.
never complained. But yeah.
So you've had to bring up. How many children have you brought up?
Well, I had
Between you?
yeah. Oh, let me just think about this. Yeah.
So you had 3 of your own from the first marriage.
Yeah, 3, so that's 4, and 2, that's 6, yeah.
6 children. So all the time that you were active, you were raising a family as well, Norma?
Oh, yes, of course, yes. And, I mean, Jonathan, who Terry and me had together, he used to love to go on the picket lines, you know, he did, yeah.
What age would that be?
He'd only be small, perhaps 8-year-old maybe. And he came home one day crying his eyes out, and I said, what on earth's the matter with you, Jonathan? They've got me dad. The police have got me dad, he says. There was a student strike, of course. I said, why, where is it? He said, he's in a hut, they're in the hut, you know, there's a lot of bright miners in the hut, and the police are shaking it and trying to get him out.
Oh, that upset him for him to see that.
So I said, I'm on my way, Jonathan. So we both went down to the pit there. And by the time we got down there, they'd come out. But evidently, a lad had annoyed one of the policemen, and he'd run into the hut.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and the police were trying to get him out and shaking the hut, and it went over. The hut went over. So I mean, there were a lot of violence.
Yeah,
about,
that could have been fatal, couldn't it?
It could, yeah.
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 But fortunately, Terry was all right.
Yes, he was all right. Yes, and but he was more worried about Jonathan because
Yeah, of course.
yeah. Seeing all that,
Yeah. I mean, there must have been a lot of trauma for the little kids
Yeah,
in those days because
yeah.
they were without the sort of the fathers weren't working. There was worry obviously inside the household.
Yeah, there was.
Food was short.
Yes.
Presents at Christmas were short.
Yes. Although we did have a lot of presents that were donated to us for the Christmas.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, and we actually Rose we got a lot of money given us for a party for him as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so that was good, wasn't it?
Wasn't the money came from abroad as well?
Yes,
as well
it did,
as
from
this
Canada.
country?
From Canada. Yes, that was good. And actually, a representative came over to see us during the strike,
From Canada?
From Canada, yes. And when I wrote my book, one of the teachers that had been supporting us, he took it into his classroom.
Did he?
Yeah, and he was showing them, he was teaching the children how, the different people lived.
Yes.
And different classes and things like that,
Yeah.
And he was saying how
social history.
Yeah, social history. And I thought that was good,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm a real strong believer in that children should be taught working class history.
Yes.
Because we're not, are we?
No.
I think it's getting better now with the children these days, but we didn't learn about the miners' strike, for example. Or, the fights of the working class in the past. It was all sort of history of wars and...
Yes, of course. Yes, it was in them days, wasn't it? Oh, I mean, also, we had a little kitchen in one of them. It used to be the chapel, little chapel in Arkwright, and they used it as a kitchen, and we could go there and get breakfast,
Really?
And I think it was about 20p. That's all you paid, and if you took your own egg, they'd fry that for you as well. But you had like tomatoes and bread,
I love a fry up.
bread and everything, and yeah.
How long was it that after the strike that you wrote your book?
It wasn't very long really. It would be well, strike lasted 84, and it was published in 87, wasn't it? So it'd be 86. It'd be about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did that come about, Norma? Did you wrote it for your own sort of...
Well, I'm going back to that teacher again now that spoke in the classroom, and he'd come down to Arkwright to see us, and we're having a drink together, and he says, there's such a lot of men writing books about the strike. And he said, what about you? And I said, oh, all right, then I'll do it, And I mean, I'd never ever thought about writing a book, but I used to when I was at school, I used to love doing competitions and that,
Yeah.
And
it's a beautiful book. It's so
thank
well
you,
written.
thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
So that's how it came about, and then of course he kept in touch, and that's when he told me about the classroom.
I think that's really interesting, though, that he did persuaded you to do that, because the women did play a pivotal role in that strike, didn't they?
They did.
And it did needed to be documented.
Yes,
didn't it?
that's right. Then of course after the strike, we were found out that our village was living on a time bomb, and the time bomb lasted 10 years before we come over here, of course.
When you say you were living on a time bomb,
Yes, I'll explain that to you, Anne.
Yeah.
It's because the pit shut down and they closed it all up, and they were warned that methane could come out, and it did, and it escaped into the houses.
Oh, that's so
and the top row of the houses was evacuated.
Right.
And we occupied the school and put people up, and we used to make them drinks and that in the morning and everything, you know.
Yeah.
So, and then they had this meeting on the playing field in a big marquee actually, and they told us that the village would have to come down, and that they were going to give people house for house. So if you owned your house, you got a free house over here.
Yeah.
But of course we rented, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we got a rented house, but that's beside the point. But they said they would do everything with us, and they went for everything with us, you know, to what colour bathroom you wanted and everything, and
So
whereabouts you wanted to live in here, you know.
So was that this house? Or
No,
a different one?
I lived just down the road from here.
Okay.
Yeah, and I came up here because it had a shower and everything in here.
Yes.
And my husband needed it because he had Alzheimer's.
That's it.
So, so that's why we came up here. And, so I did quite a lot after the strike, actually. I wrote the book. I got a job at Clown College as writer in residence.
Excellent. Wow, that's really impressive.
And then I used to do wedding cakes and all that, you know, because I can do flowers and everything with icing. So they asked me if I'd like to have a night class at Arkwright for creative icing.
Oh, fantastic.
So, and it was very successful.
Yeah.
I had about 20 ladies there, actually. So that was me icing.
Another string to your bow.
Yeah, so I've done quite a lot, really.
You have?
Yeah. And of course, then I was chair of the governors down at school.
It must have been heartbreaking to lose the old village.
Oh, it was, yes. I've never got over it, to be honest.
No, there's communities, aren't
Yeah, it was. I mean, you could go out anywhere and not lock your door, you know.
Yes, yeah.
And, you know, and everybody, people wouldn't knock on the door, they'd just open the door and come in, you know.
Yes.
And you expected it, you know. It was...
Regardless of what you might be doing.
A proper community it was, and you know, and everybody knew everybody. At that time, I could name everybody in every house, you know. It was good, yeah.
So that disappeared when you moved to
Yes.
the new village.
The thing is, as well, we were scattered when we come over here, because you could choose what part of you.
Yeah.
It was just a field, this, you know,
Yes.
and you could choose which part of the village you wanted to live.
Yes.
So we got scattered. Then a lot of they built a lot more houses, and people came in from different places, you know. So, in fact, I hardly know anybody here in the village now. I mean, they've all gone.
Oh.
There's a few children that's over there, you know, over here, you know, from there. But, yeah.
But everybody knew you with Auntie Norma, and is that that's from the school, or?
Yes, because I used to be dinner lady to start with. Then I rose to senior dinner lady, and then I did the caretaker's job. I was a glutton for punishment, I can tell you. And I used to do baking with them. And we used to do things like, when it was Easter, we used to make little animals out of Easter eggs. With icing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Penguins and things like that.
Oh,
And, and children used to come to me, and if they were worried about anything, say if there was one little child, she used to come and she couldn't get the hang of arithmetic. So I used to sit down in the library with her, and we used to go over it, you know. And when I left school, she wrote me a lovely letter. Please don't go, Auntie Norma. So, you know, it was lovely, you know.
Well, you make an impression on young people's lives, aren't you? That they don't ever forget.
Yes.
In that role.
That's right. Of course, we did the dancing with them, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was something I wanted to do.
Yes.
To be honest, Anne, I wanted to thank them for taking me in and looking after me.
Yes.
That was what it was, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget what Arkwright did for me. And they brought me out of my shell, to be honest.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Once you got a taste for it,
Yeah.
that were it, wasn't it, really? You were...
I had my second life, to be honest, and more exciting than me first, to be honest.
So I'm going to ask you some sort of quick fire-ish questions.
Yes, okay.
But take as long as you like to answer.
That's fine, thank you.
So you know that we've got county council elections on at the moment,
Yes,
of which I'm one of the candidates.
yes.
But what advice would you give to a new candidate that's standing for office at County Hall?
Be enthusiastic, listen to people, and be yourself, you know. That's more important, be yourself. I wouldn't listen too much what other people tell you. Do what you want to do.
Yes, yeah.
And the main thing is the people. That's who you're standing for, you know. Just listen, and I'm sure, you know, you'll do well.
I always say I've got 9,500 bosses in this role, and it's all the
Right.
people that are,
Yes.
that are voters.
Yes, but I mean, I've followed your history a long time, Anne, and honestly, I just don't know how you do it because you're here, there, and everywhere, and you are listening.
Well, I think the thing is, it's because of women like you that went before us.
Oh, dear.
So
I don't know about that.
I
but-
think it is. I think it absolutely is. You were the trailblazers.
Well, thank you for
your
that anyway.
generation.
But I thank you for all you're doing for your, or you know, it's
I do think it's important
Fantastic.
to listen,
yes, it is.
and I think perhaps we could learn a lot more if we did more of that,
Yes.
couldn't we?
And I realise you're not frightened of talking up
No,
and standing for what you believe in.
no,
And I think that's so important. If you believe in something,
passion in
yeah,
politics.
passion, you stand for it. Yes,
So, you've been Labour lifelong.
yes.
Are you optimistic about the way politics are going in the UK and worldwide at present?
I listen to what's happening now in Parliament, and I must I'd say this: I don't agree with everything. I think it's something that they've had to come into and got to put right. I realise that, you know.
As always,
Yes.
we always have had
But
to.
I just don't know where it's going to go sometimes,
No.
you know. But I just hope it comes out right, and then they listen to the people.
Yes. Do you think it's going to be a better life for your grandchildren now? And
No, I don't.
no.
There's so much happening all over the world, and
Yes.
it is a worry, isn't it, Anne?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's not just our country that's having a bad time of it, it's all over. And I heard even on the television last night that Mr. Trump, who I will say I don't agree with, but
Mr. Trump.
Mr. Trump, but he was saying, oh, it could be World War III, and I thought, you silly man, shut up.
Well, no, you're quite right. It's not a term that you should be bandying about
No, it
loosely,
isn't,
is
you
it?
know.
World War III.
And what right has he got to go to Putin and all that, you know, and think, he's trying to make himself big, isn't he? You know, I've done this and I've done that, and I've put him right. Putin isn't going to go with that. He isn't.
No, and he's not going with it.
No,
He's
no.
contradicting everything
Yes,
he's doing.
he is. Yeah.
And my final question, how would you like to be remembered, Norma?
As an ordinary woman, an ordinary housewife, that by, I won't say misfortune, but was brought into different areas of my life, you know, where I had to fight for everything I got. And no, I'm just ordinary, but well, everybody likes a little bit of praise now and again, I don't.
I think you're extraordinary, and I think most women of your generation were extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I think you should take that as you.
Yeah. In my eyes, everything I've done is for the love of something.
Yes.
And
That's really.
and also because it was needed, you know, at that time, really. And it's extinction into it, you know.
Yeah.
Fight to survive in this
Yeah,
world.
you do, and then you look back and you
Yeah,
can see that
looking
you've
back,
come through it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I regret looking back. And yes, a lot of things, which we all do, don't we?
Of course we do, absolutely all do.
Yes, we do.
And I did say that on my final question, but it's not. One more question. What would you say is your greatest achievement in life?
My greatest achievement in life.
That you're most proud of? After your children?
After my children, right, after my children. I'd like to think it's because people can come to talk to me,
Oh, they can.
and you know, and I'd give them an honest answer.
Absolutely.
And I want people to be happy, you know. I really
Yes.
do want people to be happy. And if I can do anything for anybody, I will.
I know you will. I know you
I'd
will.
give me last penny to help somebody, you know.
I know you will.
But yeah, it's a question that's yeah, it's got lots of answers, hasn't it, Anne? You know.
It has. I could spend another day talking to you, Norma, and asking you questions. It's been absolutely lovely, and you are an inspiration to women like
thank
me.
you ever so much, Anne. And so are you.
100%, 100%. I do not know how you did it. Working those different roles, serving the community and raising 6 children, it's incredible. And you should be really proud of yourself, because we're all really proud of you.
Oh, thank you ever so much, Anne. Yes.
And thank you very much as well, Norma.
Oh, no, and thank you.